welcome to Brew Cast. I am Tap here for another Flesh and Blood video. So I've been doing a bunch of spoiler videos for the Monarch Flesh and Blood set that's coming out soon. So I do name the series just because that's what we kind of do on the channel. So this is going to be previews and pints, or pints and previews. I haven't really figured it out yet. Whatever the title is in the video is what it's going to be, but we're going to have a pint. We're going to look at the previews and just kind of discuss a little bit, talk a little bit about how they might see play, and then just, just really get introduced to the cards. So cheers. But yeah, today is day 4 or 5. We missed one day. Had a little bit of a constrictive schedule with some blitz games that I had to play. But we are back for the 14th and the 15th, the 4th and 5th days of preview. I may be wrong on the dates, but in any case, we are starting to get a bunch of Runeblade weapons, equipment, things like that, as well as a new hero discovered, released, unleashed, whatever you want to call it, for the 5th day of spoilers. So if you want to see previous wrap-ups, go ahead and check down below. There is all the links for our little breakdowns there. But for right now, let's jump into day 4 and 5 of spoilers. All right, so as you can see here, we have the 15th. This is the Friday, so we are a day behind. The other ones are down below. We're not going to zoom because they've changed the way this looks. But yeah, so that's where we're starting off with. Looking forward to the next couple days as well. We have a couple loaded days up until Sunday. We got our boy Raven reviewing card on Saturday, so that's pretty cool. And then, yeah, so we'll see DM Armada and Kitchen Table TCG on Sunday as well. So a lot of stuff to look forward to this weekend. So definitely looking forward to all that kind of stuff. So without further ado, let's get into the spoilers. So our first one today for the 4th day is Ebb and Fold. This was previewed by Prince Distribution. It's a very large Canadian distribution, TCG distributor. So this is our first piece of equipment we saw for the Shadow section. So this is a Shadow equipment head. On the face of things, looks pretty nice. So instant speed, you can just play one to destroy it, a banish card from your hand, and if it's a Shadow card, draw a card. So essentially you can cantrip it for a single resource point, which is pretty nice. I mean, you're looking to get a lot of Shadow cards into the banish zone anyways. If you might have some extra resources, it doesn't require an action point, so you can sort of, boom, 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 get that into the banish zone, and then draw yourself a card. It doesn't block for anything. It's more of an arcane barrier, as we see with a new mechanic, Spell Void. So if a hero be dealt arcane damage, you may destroy Ebb and Fold instead, if you do prevent 2 damage from that source. So it's like a beefed up arcane barrier, but a single use, and it costs nothing. So it's kind of nice. I mean, I'm not really sure how much useful utility you'll see in constructed, or I should say non-limited play. That just losing it after you use it for 2 points is not very good. So most likely this will be either just used for the top instant part to banish a card, or in limited you might use it for prevention of some particular arcane damage, maybe coming in from those Shadow Runeblades, because they're doing a lot of that. But overall, I think it's a pretty nice card. I think it looks gorgeous too. I just love it's just really cool looking. I love the whole like astral, like galaxy sort of stuff in the background. It's really, really quite nice. So yeah, so that is our first card for Prince Distribution. Our second one, Dice Commando, previewed the Hexagore, the Death Hydra. That is a ridiculous flail. So 2-handed Shadow Brute weapon, once per turn, 2 resources, attack for 6. That is astounding. Attack for 6. However, there is a very large downside. Whenever you attack with Hexagore, it deals damage to you equal to 6 minus a number of cards with blood debt in your banish zone. So basically, it's hitting you for as much as it's hitting them if you don't have a bunch of blood debt, which is going to hit you anyway. So it's kind of hard to play this. This is definitely leaning towards that, you want to have 6 blood debt in there to cast your, was it Doomsday or Eclipse or whatever the one is for Levia. That's going to be the one that that's going to get you there. But this is going to hurt you all the way along there. But I think it's pretty dang powerful. It's going to strip a bunch of cards from your opponent's hand. It only costs 2 resources. We've seen a bunch of different ways to give things go again. I guess maybe not for the Brute. We've seen it more for the Runeblade. But overall, I think it's a great card. I think that there's a lot of tweaking to do with these types of things. With all the blood debt that we're going to be having, I think it's going to be a very fine dance of making sure that you don't die, and then also having a bunch of stuff in exile so that you can play and have stuff like this that's going to go, pretty good. I mean, shoot, 3 cards of Blood Debt in your banish zone, you'll be taking 6 by the end of your turn. You can't really prevent that. Your opponent's taking 6, but you're stripping cards out of their hand. So you're essentially just paying life to strip cards from your hand, maybe, or you're chunking in for actual damage. So we don't really know how that's going to be, but I'm sure it'll be a little bit of a tweaker. You gotta try to figure that one out. So is Hexagore by Dice Commando. Next one is Ravenous Meat Axe. I never would have expected those words to go together, and I've never heard them together. So this is from Fab Armory. It's Ravenous Meat Axe, a common brute weapon. Sorry for the clarity here. Is a little bit harder to find a good image. So it's attacks for 3. Once per turn action, 2 resources attack. Whenever you attack with Ravenous Meat Axe, draw a card and discard a card at random. If a card was 6 or more power, discard this way. It gets +2 until end turn. So for the same cost of 2 resources, you could theoretically be swinging in for 5. Yes, you're discarding a card, but the Blood Debt, that flail, the Hexagore, is kind of requiring you to banish a bunch of stuff. We know that there's a way to get stuff from your graveyard into your banish zone, so that's not crazy to think that this can sort of be played as a Shadow Brute and actually have some utility, some good utility there. A lot of the Shadow Brute cards are all, 6 beefy power. We saw those in the past couple days, so I think this all works with the Shadow Brute if you want to go with that. And overall, I feel like this is better because if you're not playing Shadow Brute, you're playing something else that wants to have 6 or more discarded, maybe with Runner and get your Intimidate going, it's just a self-enabler there. I mean, I think the Hexagore is really cool, right? But ultimately, like, I don't know, I think this is a little bit cooler. I should say a little bit more regularly going to do more damage. Yes, 5 to 6 is a big difference as far as damage goes, but I don't know. I think it's I think this is a pretty good. I think it's going to see some good play in limited. I'm sure I'm missing something here because, like, I'm not really sure if I feel like this is that much better than the Hexagore, but I feel like the Hexagore is just kind of like, oh, it's that flashy card, but like not gonna play it anymore. But yeah, that's a Ravenous Meat Axe. Looks like it'll be good, particularly in limited, just because it's a nice, easy way to get beefed up and swing in. It's a high cost or high power. All right, next card we have Fab with Freya, or I think that's how you say it. Hooves of the Shadow Beast. We have a Shadow Brute equipment legs. So whenever a card with 6 or more attack is put into your banished zone, you may destroy Hooves of the Shadow Beast. If you do, gain 1 action point. Also has Battle Worn. I love the Battle Worn. I love Battle Worn. It's so nice to see equipment be able to block and then use it. I mean, Helm of Eisen's Peak was my boy. Love being able to block with that and then cash in for an extra card. I just great. It's great. It's great. You just feel like you're getting so much value. So I really like that. To the card, blocks for 1. Not too bad. Whenever you discard a card, essentially, or sorry, banish a card with 6 or more power, you can destroy it to gain an action point. That's most of the time, I feel like. If you're going to be banishing cards in this Shadow Brute deck, they're going to be 6 or higher power. So I really feel like this is basically a way to just have on board, like, I can theoretically get go again almost all the time, just because, or not technically go again, but you know what I mean, get an action point to have another action in that turn. So I think that's really quite powerful because you can really chain in big hits. So like if you're swinging in with some big brute attack and then you discard something and you crack this guy, you can then swing with your club as well. It does not cost anything, so I think it's actually quite worth it in that regard. So I would say that's a really nice card. I'm pretty excited about it. I'm not a huge brute player, but I'm pretty excited about it. So that was Fab with Freya. All right, so we then have Wraith Times. Davis Kingsley wrote a article for this is tower number 9 for those of you who don't know. Memorial Ground. So this is a generic instant for 0, cost 0. We will likely see all 3 colors. Put target attack action card with cost 2 or less from your graveyard on the top of your deck. This is the red one. I imagine the blue and the yellow will be 1 and 2. 1 and 0 cost, so you can slap things on top of your library there. But I think this is pretty cool. I mean, you can do some cool trickery, things like that. I know that people are really pumped about this with Azalea because you can slam some sweet cards on top of your library and then know that you're going to have them with your Azalea ability so that, boom, right into there, get arsenaled, get dominated, get in for damage. So I know people are pretty pumped about that. Otherwise, I think it's a great way to just recur powerful threats. Yeah, it's a 1-for-1. You're not really gaining anything, and you don't get it into your hand. It goes on the top of your library, but sometimes that can be just as good. Downside, doesn't really block for anything. It's essentially a dead card, unless you're going to be playing the Rally the Rear Guard and be able to use this for defense. I don't think you can really rely on, because maybe you're not going to play those in the same deck. That's the only sort of downside. Otherwise, I think it'd be really good in certain games. You can pitch it for one resource, which I guess if you're playing Azalea, that's actually not that bad. So I think that's kind of why people are really jazzed about it going into Azalea. So on to the next one, we have the Dread Scythe from Reaper Games Store out of Canada. We have once per turn action, 3 cost attack, goes in for 3. When you attack with Dread Scythe, deal 1 arcane damage to defending hero. A hero dealt damage by Dread Scythe can't gain life during their next action phase. I think this is really, really quite neat. This is a 2-handed majestic. So this is not Shadow Runeblade, this is just Runeblade in general. I think this is really quite cool. I like how they're mixing things up now. I know Viserai was a rune chant thing, and that's how you got his arcane damage. I think this is really cool because they're just sort of splashing it in now and then. It's essentially like you had one rune chant. Yes, I know that you can stack them with Viserai. This is just kind of neat because like it's this weird pressure of like this one just boom. You're going to attack in. They're going to get swung at for 3, and they're going to get swung at for 1 with the arcane damage. So like it's going to probably require a couple cards to block if they really want to have that life gain. I think that with the light cards, which I'm sure are coming next week, this is the week of darkness. We'll get a bunch of light cards next week, or maybe it'll be the following week. I have no idea how long this season's actually going to last. But I think that life gain and life in general are quite important to the light side, so I think that this life gain thing is going to matter. Or it just might be the Runeblade thing. Because we have seen that with Reaping Blade, so we don't really know. All right, so overall, quite expensive. Essentially swinging for 4 in 2 different ways. I think it'd be pretty good. But yeah, we'll sort of see. If life gain's a big deal, which right now it's not a huge deal, I think it'll be killer weapon. All right, on to the next one. We have gamogenic supplies with Galaxy. I don't even actually know how to say that. Galaxy Black. Galaxy. I mean, there's that other card that they just with the 2 X's, that dimensional crossroads. Galensh. It's like Galaxy. Yeah, we'll go with Galaxy Black. Why not? We'll just go with that. It seems about right. So once per turn action, pay 1 attack. Attacks for 1. Lame, right? Not so cool. 2-handed Shadow Runeblade weapon. But it does get pumped. So if you played a card from your banish zone this turn, it gets +2 until end turn, which is pretty nice. But also says if it hits a hero, deal 1 arcane damage to the hero. So this is that Runeblade thing. We've seen it in a couple other cards that are kind of nice in the Runeblade build, that if you hit with arcane damage, you get some bonuses, or cards will have bonuses, or cards may have go again. So the fact that you can chip in, it's this pressure that's there that for the defending hero, like, well, do I really want to get hit with the arcane damage? I could just take 1. That's if you didn't get the bonus, right? Cool, I'm going to swing it for 1. Attack it for 1. Do they want to take it? Do they not? It's like this pressure of, well, does the arcane damage matter? Like, are you going to somehow, like, rattle chains, have things happen as an instant? It's just kind of a weird pressure that people might actually have to worry about if they go into defending. Like, are we going to defend 1 or not? So essentially that makes it 2 cards, because you can't really pitch and defend with the same card, at least not yet. So Galaxy Black, interesting weapon. I feel like you're going to be constantly playing things out of your banish zone with the Shadow Runeblades anyway, so I feel like it's probably going to normally attack for 3, and then 4 if it hits. So pretty cool there for Galaxy Black. So I think it's like, yeah, good for like Dread Triptych, stuff like that. All right, we have our next one is Cloak and Blaster. We have Aether Ironweave. This is our... No, we still got 2 more in day 4 spoilers. So this is Aether Ironweave. This is a Runeblade equipment. This is not a Shadow Runeblade, although it's kind of dark and stormy. Viserai's that way too. So battle 1 for 1. Gotta love that value. Action: destroy Aether Ironweave, gain 2 action points. Activate this ability only if you've played an attack action card and a non-attack action card this turn. Go again. So I think this is kind of interesting. It precludes you having go again after you've done something already, right? So like you have to play an attack action card and a non-attack action card this turn, which generally we've seen a couple other times where Chane, for instance. Ooh, we don't know him yet. Sorry, never mind. We'll backtrack to that later. Where you're doing your non-attack actions which have go again, and you have to play an attack action that has go again as well to really utilize this. But if you do, that's sort of it's like your poor man's Blood Chief Skeleton. I mean, sort of like it's like you're just gaining 2 resources, like you have the 2 rune chance sort of thing. Yeah, it only applies to 1 card, but I think it's like your poor man's Blood Chief Skeleton. So gotta love that. Battle worn, pretty nice. All right, that was our Cloak and Blaster. We also have from Mithril. We have Soul Shackle. So this is a Shadow Runeblade token aura. So something that we will find out very shortly makes this aura that stays in on the battlefield. Doesn't matter what you do, it's staying there unless you can somehow blow it up. At the beginning of your action phase, banish the top card of your deck. That's it. Full stop. So you're just literally exiling or banishing cards off the top of your deck every turn. Just chum, 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 chug, 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 chew, 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 whatever you want to call it. Plowing away at that library, putting in a banish zone. But again, that's not surprising. These Shadow Runeblades are really looking to play things out of their banish zone. A lot of them get bonuses. A lot of other cards you have that play normally will get bonuses if you've played something out of the banish zone. So I really feel as though this is a very, very sort of helpful card that will really go aggro, though. Like, I think you have to go big or go home with this. But yeah, we'll see how that goes for that. It's just an aura. We shouldn't really worry about talking about that too much. Vexing Malice. So we have a straight up, this is Hobby Master. So Vexing Malice from Hobby Master. Our last day 4 spoiler. So we have a 1 cost, 3 damage attack, deal 2 arcane damage to target hero. So I assume that because this is a rare, there'll be 3 other colors, and it'll probably be 2 and 1 attack for yellow and blue, respectively. I think this is pretty good. Defense for 3, which is really nice. Cheap cost at 1. Coming in for 5 for 1 damage. Yeah, there's no go again, but it's quite nice. I think the arcane damage is really cool. I do like the ability. So if you're playing Ultimate Pit Fight, you can attack someone and then throw the arcane damage on another person. I just think that's kind of nice. I think the red one's really where you want to be, but you never really know. What I really like about like how they're doing the Runeblade arcane damage. It feels very dark side. So like I know this isn't a Shadow Runeblade, but like a lot of the stuff we've seen so far are the Shadow Runeblades, and they've got this arcane damage that don't come out of these rune chances. Just like it feels very like the dark side with the Emperor and like his crackling lightning and stuff like that. So I think it's really kind of funny, like, and we see that in the art. Like it's very, very dark and submitting to the evil spirits and all that kind of stuff. So, all right, well, that was our last day 4 spoiler. And boy, we move on to day 5, and LSV has some spicy cards for us. He was able to preview the second shadow hero that we have seen, the second hero of this set, Chane. So we have the Chane of that Eclipse token producing card. It is Chane. Also, the other name, Chane Bound by Shadow. So those are his adult and young forms here. So once per turn action, create a Soul Shackle token. Your next Runeblade or Shadow action this turn gains go again. So you get that Soul Shackle token like we were talking about before. But it gives you the ability to go again with your next attack action. So this is really where you see that not the Blood Chief Skeleton, what was it called? The Aether Weave. The Aether Iron Weave. Like, this is where you might be able to see the utility there, because you can be creating these things which are feeding your Banish Zone, which are feeding your Blood Debt, which is really good for you, but also not really good for you. But you're getting go again. So you're going to be like swinging it with your normal non-attack action, which you always do. And then you get go again from this. Or I guess maybe you just go in with your normal attack, and then you have your non-attack action, and then boom, you have your another attack action. And so then like you can really get around that limiting your number of hits, whereas Viscera didn't really used to be much more. There was never really a third attack. There was like the non-attack bonus, like Oath of the Arknight or something like that. Then there was hitting with something else, and then the rune chance pop it all, but you never really did much after that. And you didn't really maybe have to, but this is pushing us really towards this aggro Runeblade where you're pushing so much your deck into the into the Banish Zone that you kind of have to just go like go crazy and punch. So you kind of got to use that. If you're not using that go again, you're gonna fall way behind, and I think that's kind of important. Also, I love the art on both of these. Like one, there's like people just hanging on chains. You got goblin-y looking things down on the ground that are like all praying with this, monster looking dude. And they did just put a bunch of lore onto the website. So definitely go ahead and read that. That'll be pretty exciting. I'm looking forward. I have not read the whole big thing. But yeah, so I just love the art of this too. Like on the adult, like it's this weird, his little chain sword that's like going in and out of the other realm. That's really, really, really quite cool. All right, we have our second spoiler of day 5. We have pitch for 3 showing off Shadow of Ursa, which I think is a very much probably a bird demon sort of thing. I mean, we got these feathers coming forward in the card. We got these claws. This molten heart thing, that's not really bird-like, but and I think Ursa, right? I think that was a perfect time to put a bear demon. Like, you never see bear demons. Where do you see bear demons? You don't. There's no bear demons anywhere. You can see bird demons, sure, but like Ursa, come on, you're one letter off. You could have just done it. I digress. All right. This card, pretty cool. Free card, pitches for 3, defends for 3, attacks for 2. You may play from your banish zone. So a lot of these cards we'll see, you're gonna see that. You can play from your banish zone. I think that's really important. And I think what that gets at is that you're gonna be able to use your hand mostly for just resources. Like you essentially have a larger hand, right? You have all these cards in your banish zone. You're actively wanting to, in most cases, get them out of your banish zone. And yet you have this way of like, cool, I can just play these on my banish zone. So yeah, let's say I got a grip of 4 cards in my hand, right? Well, I have like 3 other cards in my deck in my banish zone that I can just play. So like, if I can get go again, and boom, this one allows you to get go again. You can actually just sort of start chugging along using your hand completely for resources or whatever, and then having these cards being played out of your exile, or sorry, your banish pile. So I think it's really quite amazing how much power you might see with these. My only worry is that you're going to fizzle out. Like, that's the thing. Like, eventually you will lose your pitch ability because you're going to banish everything. And, playing these out of the banish place, they're just going to go to the graveyard. They don't go back to the library. So I think that's where the sort of the worry comes in here. But overall, I should probably finish reading the card. You can play out of your banish zone. Additional cost to play it. You may banish a card with Blood Debt from your hand. If you do, it gains go again. So you don't have to, but you can. I think that's pretty cool. It has Blood Debt itself. So I think that's sort of where this Shadow Runeblade is going, in a very fast direction, very aggro, and very trying to utilize their hand of 4 cards, but also their banish zone, which has a bunch of things that will actually be able to be played with. All right, on to our next card. We have Hayden Dale and his new channel, Arsenal Pass, on YouTube. Definitely go check them out. He is he was a Calling at Auckland champion or something like that. He's really good. He's very good. Very good analysis there. So I'm excited to see how that channel grows. So he previewed on his channel along with another fellow. I want to say his name's Brennan. I can't remember his last name. Dimensional Crossroads. So that is this Shadow Runeblade action aura. 2 pitches for 2 as well. Go again. Can defend for 3 if you want to. Whenever you play an attack action card or non-attack action card from your banish zone, and caveat, we are looking to do that. We'd like to do that. It's advantageous. A lot of things we can get bonuses from doing that, and it's just great because you don't want to keep that blood debt too high. If you have not played another card of that type this turn, deal 1 arcane damage to target hero. So essentially, just stack on every spell that you're playing, the first of the 2 kinds of spells you're playing on your banish zone, click, boom, add an arcane damage to it. That's really quite cool. And what's really nice is that it does stay in play. The issue is that if you have blood that hits you, you're kind of off. You're up shit's creek essentially, because you don't get it destroyed. If it's on your opponent's turn. So like you can get hit for combat damage, whatever. That's fine. But Kano smacking you on your turn, or your blood debt coming in for its payment at the end of your turn, will destroy this. So that's the only sort of issue here. Otherwise, this is just like, look at the cool art. You're like literally bringing stuff out of this other place. There's like goofy demons and fire everywhere. But yeah, I think this is super powerful. So like, again, this is really pushing you towards that aggressive deck. Chane is going to be exiling or banishing stuffing off the top of your library. You're going to be playing those things out of there for extra damage. I really think this deck has got to be built right to really function well. like, you really just got to go with it. But I think it's super exciting that, like, there's so much puzzle space and so much, like, card space to, like, maneuver around and change the knobs and tweak the knobs, and just, like, it'll be so cool to find how these decks can tweak. And maybe there's not only one, maybe there's multiple. I'm sure there's multiple, but man, this kind of stuff is so cool. I really, really love it. Yeah, all right, cool. Next one we have from the Fab TCG site itself, we have a couple cards. We have Bounding Demigon is our first one. So this is a common, so we'll see probably 3 different colors. We have the red here, attack for 3. I imagine the yellow will be 2 and the blue will be 1. And defense for 3, pitches for 1 in this particular case. If you've played a non-attack action card this turn, you may play Bounding Demigon from your Banish Zone. If you do, it gains +1. So we're seeing bonuses, and it's also got Blood Debt. We're seeing bonuses for when you play things out of the Banish Zone. So again, the idea behind this is you're getting stuff in there to come back out in a deeper, darker way. I should also say this is a Shadow Runeblade action. So again, I think it's pretty easy to be playing a non-attack action card. That's kind of the whole Runeblade thing. You're looking to do your non-attack and then your attack action. And again, you're most of the time, like with Viscera, it said if it's a Runeblade thing. In this particular case, it's not, but that's the Runeblade thing is a non-attack attack, and then you get a bonus. So that's pretty good. I think this will be a nice staple card. Whether it's constructed play, I'm not really sure, but definitely bread and butter and limited of your Shadow Runeblade deck. Being able to recycle cards out of your Banish Zone, because you're at such a small deck size and limited, it's going to be critical that you can actually utilize those. So pretty cool. Maybe early in the game, you're going to be pitching these. Late in the game, you can have them banished and be bouncing them out of your Banish Zone there. So pretty cool. The other card from the Mothership site is Seeds of Agony. We have a Shadow Runeblade action, blocks for 2, is a common, probably going to have 3 colors, costs 0. You may play it from your Banish Zone. Boom. So there's a Runeblade action, so non-attack action that you can play from your Banish Zone. It says the next attack action card with cost 1 or less, you play this turn, deals 1 arcane damage to target hero. So, and then go again, Blood Debt. So assume the blue will be cost 0 and the red will be cost 2, and they're all going to deal 1 extra thing. So it's just stapling on, just like the dimensional crossroads of it, stapling on a 1 arcane damage to a hero. Same sort of thing here, and I think that's really quite neat. Again, it's very evil Emperor dark side, like zapping with lightning and stuff like that. So I love that. Again, I think these decks are really coming together now. You're having these massive amounts of Blood Debt things going to your Banish Zone, being able to play them out of your Banish Zone, having some of a bonus if you can have things in your Banish Zone, really churning into that Banish Zone. And yeah, because those things that Chane puts out, those tokens, they do stack. It's not like you just do that once. You stack them. But then, banishing, 2 cards of your library, 3, say you do a thrice, banishing 3 cards of your library, that is literally a third of your starting deck in limited. That's a huge amount. So, I mean, your smallest starting deck, I should say. So yeah, Seeds of Agony can be pretty cool. I think it's nice. I mean, you just staple extra damage on, and I think you have to do that. You just gotta push. So that's where we are. All right, next one is, and this is the second to last. We're trying to round the bend here. My pint is almost out, so we definitely want to get through these. We have from AK Games Center, we have Howl from Beyond. So we have a rare here. It's a 2 cost. This one is the red version. Blocks for 2, Shadow action, so generic Shadow, not any Brute or Runeblade. You may play Howl from Beyond from your Banish Zone. So again, 3 cards in a row we just went through. You can play them from your Banish Zone. So that's really the key that we have. Okay, cool. We've got the nail in there. We know that we're going to be able to play things out of there. Not really jumping through many hoops here. The next attack action card you play this turn gets +3. Go again, Blood Debt. So definitely chugging the power into overdrive. So remember, I think I can't remember the earlier cards. Maybe they were generics, maybe they were brute ones that require you to banish stuff from your graveyard. Now I'm not really, it's my memory's failing me, but if that was generic and not brute, although I guess this is generic and not brute or Runeblade, it could be a really nice way to actually like have that cycle going. So again, if you're playing this from your banish zone, you're getting a bonus. Maybe you're playing an attack that's going to require you to banish stuff. And I want to say they're actually brute ones now that I'm thinking about it. The banish stuff from your graveyard to your banish zone. Maybe you can banish as well. Some of them are, I think it's random, but maybe you don't have a lot left in there. You just sort of keep churning through this. Yeah, it's 2. It's kind of expensive, but +3 is not that bad. So I can definitely see that one. The yellow and the blue one, maybe not all that great, but I think the red one's probably pretty dang powerful. And again, it can help feed that cycle with the brute, the Shadow Brute. So the talented Shadow Brute. All right, on to our last card here for day 5. Again, last card, last bit of the pint. We have Warmongers Recital. This is from Fab Unseals. I love this card. It's so good. It's so fun. It's a generic, so it's going to only black for 2. It's probably going to be blue pitch being the +1, yellow being +2, and then we have red +3. So what is that +3 I'm talking about? The next attack action card you play this turn gains +3, and if it hits, put it in the bottom of your deck. So if it hits, overloop, essentially. It's got that overloopy goodness on there, and then it has go again. So essentially it's a generic bump in power, and it can theoretically recycle cards. So that's really quite nice. Imagine a Enlightened Strike with this bad Larry, right? You throw that on there, don't even give it go again, just go in for the money and be attacking for a godly amount of damage, and then boom, you get to throw that thing on the bottom of your deck. Like, that's just a casual 10 damage, no big deal. No big deal. It's like my Tuesday night, no big deal. So I think it's really quite fun. I mean, yeah, it suffers the only blocks for 2 as a generic card, but I think because it has that dual purpose of being able to throw stuff in the body of your library, and it's not even like it has to be your bombs or anything like that. It's just like sometimes that can matter. Like having extra resources can matter. Having a really nice, threat that's going to be, is on the bottom of your deck for later, it's pretty good. So I think, yeah, it's common. It's going to be played a bunch in limited. I think it might see its way into some goofy decks in constructed formats, but I like it. I think it was a fun way to end that. So those are all the spoilers for the days 4 and 5 of the Monarch Flesh and Blood shenanigans. So we'll bring this back up here. So this is what we'll be seeing over the next couple days. So again, 16th, that was today. I'm a little bit behind the curve. I believe it's already the 17th in New Zealand. So we have all these cool things that I'm going to be reviewing very soon. So definitely go ahead and check them out. And then I think we'll probably have more spoilers. I can't imagine that we're anywhere close near the end here, because we have to have a bunch more, because we've only seen dark stuff so far, shadow stuff so far. So with all that said, that's going to be the end of this. So I hope you enjoyed it. It's a little bit of a longer video because we meshed 2 days together. But yeah, I think this is really fun cards in this set. I really am excited to try to build an aggro Chane deck. Aggro Chane, that's funny. I wish that Galaxy Black weapon was like a chain sword, like whoosh, like in the picture. It's kind of silly that it's not like whipping around and all that kind of stuff. But hey, I digress. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the analysis. Let me know what you think. Am I saying some silly things? Am I totally off base? Am I missing some bold face things that are in there and I'm just not noticing? Let me know. I'd be interested to hear in the comments below. Otherwise, that'll do it for today's Flesh and Blood video. So thank you very much. This is Tap saying goodbye and cheers. We will see you next spoiler day. Cheers.